So they look at how they increase productivity and how when they deal with one bottleneck, you can end up with three separate bottlenecks, for example,
Yeah.
right? And how that whole flow can change and
Yeah.
how it can change and how you can handle that change or change that flow based off of your product requirements
Hmm.
and the flexibility you have within those. So there's depending on your clients and the manufacturing requirements, you can change a lot of things so that your plants manufacturing plant can have massively diverse flows
Hmm.
inside it to both cope with bottlenecks in supply
Hmm.
inside the plant itself and in changes in the environment. So it was for me a very fun read,
Yeah.
and I
I think
think you'll
that's
actually have
awesome.
fun with that read too. You'll see it's a lot more like IT than you think,
Hmm.
and I think I wouldn't have understood that without going through the Phoenix project
That's cool. I am. I'm probably going to have to do that.
and maybe DevOps. The DevOps really helped explain a lot too, and so
I
many hours of other side stuff.
like. I should probably read. I should definitely read all of that stuff, especially for my side business
You'll have
because
fun with it,
it's
both for your
manufacturing.
yeah, it's manufacturing, um, but you'll have fun with it based off of your your employment, your hobby business, and
Mm.
and your real manufacturing business. So you'll have fun with that on both sides.
Yeah, I always have fun with stuff.
Mm. So flows, then start
Hmm.
like we just started talking about here, right? You can
Hmm.
look ahead into feedback and applying that, but
Hmm.
you can't really make real use of it into
Hmm.
the future. So when I'm starting projects with people,
Hmm.
I talk about is initial flow
Hmm.
and setting up the initial data collection for the future feedback cycle. And I don't
Hmm.
confuse people with getting feedback and improving because it's way too early. But you want to get that data as soon as possible.
It's true because if you don't ay, if you wait too long to get feedback, you're not going like your improvement is going to be extremely slowed,
Hmm.
and that's
Yep.
like so. We'll take social media for example. So one of the things that I'm going to be working towards over the next couple of months is starting up a YouTube channel for my side business. I think that is going to be an excellent way to grow and build that out. And I think, but one of the big things that I'm looking at with a lot of people who are talking about this, who talk about YouTube or just doing social media in general is that they say don't wait until it's perfect. Don't wait until it's polished. Like just hit record and post. And their advice is really good because the thing with like hitting just hit record and post is that you immediately start getting hold on. Yes, please. So like you start immediately getting feedback from people of what works and what doesn't work, whereas if you are constantly waiting for things to to hear to meet whatever standard you have in your mind or whatever standard of perfect you want, you're
Oh,
never going to
impossible.
do it. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
just
you have
never
to get
going
a
to do
lot of
it.
practice. You got to get practice. You got to get feedback. You just got to see yourself. You got to hear yourself. Worst thing we can any of us can do is listen to anything we ever say.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Right.
very
And
true, isn't it?
right, it's terrible. It's really terrible.
It's
And but you got to get over that and just kind of get out there and do it. So that's why it's good to have other people edit your videos
yeah,
and just get out there, make the content, get it out there, give them the criteria. Um,
yeah.
I like to tell the guys if there's something I said that is so obnoxious and out of point, just remove that. Right? Just go ahead and and sometimes I go from talking 80% of the time to talking 10% of the time. So it's okay.
Yep.
Mm.
It's true.
So the other problem, uh, So there's that, right? There's over planning, which if you try to jump ahead, what you
Hmm.
do is what most engineers like to do, which is
Hmm.
over engineer the
Yes.
process,
Yep.
right? That's why it's important to not try to mix the first way with the second way and the third way. You're going to over engineer the process before you really have it well defined and feedback from the clients.
Yep. That is very true. And but so and is that all flow or is that experimentation?
Experimentation is, I think, part of the second way, but maybe it's part of the third.
Well, the
Continuous third way,
third
I would
way,
say third is, yeah, third is split testing, continuous micro feedback. So
yeah, yeah,
experimentation, I'd really say that's the third way.
yeah. But you know the interesting thing, like so here I have a little cheat sheet up. It says creating a culture of continual experimentation and learning. I think that's
Hmm.
a good one and an important thing to think about too, where you create like you want to encourage people to go and experiment with whatever it is that they are currently working on. Because if you don't get the experimentation, um, you're
That's
you're
because you're used to
hampering your
working on mature
improvement.
products.
What?
That's because you're used to working on mature products.
No, I've worked on everything.
Okay.
Beginning like I've worked on everything. And
Hmm.
you need to be able to like you need to put that in from the very beginning of a product. Creating an I like you need let me put it this way. You don't want to like when you are first launching a product or first setting up a product, you do not absolutely do not want to over engineer it at all, and you
Hmm.
don't want to put too much into it.
Yep.
You want to create what's called the MVP. Let's put lean. We need to put lean startup on our to read list
Yes.
to discuss. Because I read that like 10 years ago and I've forgotten about it.
It's good. It's good. I went through that last year again on the other
Yeah,
one, so we'll add
I
it.
love it. I think it's great. Anyway,
So,
sorry, hold on 1 second. Okay. So so you when you get that first little thing, that first little project out there, and you create that, and it's like the small thing, the minimum viable product is what they call it in lean startup. So take your
mhm,
idea, whatever your amazing idea is, and strip it down to the absolute minimum, like the smallest thing that you could potentially do, the smallest set of functions and functionality that you could potentially do, and get
yep,
that out to people as soon as possible.
yep.
That's that's the main thing with that. Okay.
Hmm. And that's your first. That's your the first stage. That's what we call. If we're doing the way, this
Yeah.
is your flow. And I
Yep.
don't think there's
That
a lot of room for for discovery. I don't think there's room for experimentation there, with the exception of experimenting to find the first useful solution.
yes, yes. And I think that's kind of where the where you set the foundation at that point for that culture of experimentation where you sit there and you
Hmm.
have like a couple of devs, and yeah, you may have your way, your view and your vision of what you want it to use, but your devs who are living inside the code or living inside the product day in and day out may have a different vision or a different view of it, because that's what you're paying them to do. You're paying them to be the experts
Hmm.
on that.
Yep.
So what you need to do at that point is be open to them coming to you with a, hey, I know we really wanted to do it with using such and such, but I think we could do a better job and set ourselves up for something if we do X, Y, or Z. And then you need to hear them out and be like, okay, yes, I agree with you, or no, let's put that off for a little bit. And along with like when you're saying no or when you're saying yes, it doesn't matter which one, you need to say why. Like why are you saying yes or no to it, so that they understand and they can sit there and do it. So yeah, blame free, you put in the comments, blame free environments is the next part of that. Yeah. Go on, like start with that.
Mm.
What
It kind of says itself, right? The name really says a lot.
yeah.
So the to have the first of all to have the open feedback where people can feel heard, even if they're not part of the architectural components,
Yeah.
to express themselves and to lead things.
Hmm.
That's cool. The next part is to, and if even if you don't enable that, or if you do enable that, I'd say before that is to create an environment where it's not blame, where there's no blame in
Hmm.
problems, but if a problem comes up, it's a learning opportunity for the whole organization.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
you shifting the responsibility onto the lowest common denominator for the
Hmm.
choices they take, but there's not like, hey, you messed up and it's going to affect you. It's okay, you messed up, share the lessons learned, and move on.
Hmm. Absolutely. I
So, and
agree with that.
DevOps, it's the the companies that do this are exponentially more successful.
Yes. And it's funny because you see a lot of you see a lot of companies that are trying to work towards that and push that more and more
Some
because
leaders can't handle it.
yes. And
It's easy to do if the leadership is mature enough to handle it.
yeah, sorry, I'm sorry. There's a I'm just like tooling around on our perks and stuff while we're talking, and here's a bug. It's a product that's usually sells for $80. They have that crossed out, and they're like $125 promotional price.
Good job. Promotional price double.
Yep, I'm like, wow, you guys did. You did good with that one. Good job. Good job.
So creative, so ingenious. I just love the
Yeah.
way you guys think. Bravo.
Yeah.
I need that for my marketing team. They
Yeah.
reverse the regular price with the promotional price, or do they really raise the price?
I think they reversed it. Hold on, let me click on it and let me click into it and see. No,
No, they
I
really
don't
moved.
know. I don't know what's going on. But something is really wrong. Let me add to cart. Okay, okay, they did reverse it because in the cart it's $80.
Okay, bravo.
Oh my gosh. That's so bad. That's so bad. Oh geez. Okay.
Yeah,
Anyway. That's a good one. That is a good one.
yeah, good job, good find. Look at you. I got
Oh, yeah,
distracted.
yeah, yeah. I know. I got distracted. I'm getting distracted too. Okay. So that is
So that's the ways. How about how about the unicorn
yeah.
project?
Yeah. Did you the five did you read the Unicorn Project, the book?
No, no, I'm just talking about
Okay, yeah.
inside the Phoenix project. I ordered it and it never arrived, and I'm so
Yeah. Keep going.
I'm so agitated.
I
How
know.
can they not bring me my beautiful unicorn?
I mean, you deserve a
This-
unicorn.
I deserve that. I wanted to ride that unicorn like nothing you've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. Yup. Do
Okay.
do do do
I'm wondering if
do.
I can buy it now. I'm going to buy it
And
again.
uh-oh. Unicorn Project. Yeah, the funny part is like as I was reading it, I'm sitting there thinking, well, wait a second, isn't all of this agile development anyway?
Yeah. Is it agile? I don't know if agile matters. Agile is such a religion.
Oh my gosh. I so this is you are definitely getting canceled over this.
Yeah, yeah. I used to have a friend to this moment. I think
Hmm. Hmm.
DevOps
Hmm.
is not the same as agile. So
True.
agile is a process, and DevOps is philosophy.
Hmm.
So do I? I do love agile, right? But It's not, it doesn't always make sense. It sometimes adds complexity to a process that by itself is literally waterfall. The difference
Hmm.
being is how you do the planning,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you literally have to go from one stage to the next in your
Mm-hmm.
development cycle and you don't have flexibility in what you're building, it's
Mm-hmm.
waterfall. Kiss my ass, right? The
That's very
difference
true.
in philosophy is the deliverables you give along the way and the flexibility you have in planning it.
Yeah.
So the agile philosophy would work great even in
Mm-hmm.
a waterfall production.
Okay.
And it's I like what I like about agile is the short responsive periods where you have deliverables that you can get feedback on.
Okay. Yep.
And just because it's waterfall doesn't mean that you can't then go and send that little trout right back up the waterfall,
Yep.
right? But now you're saying some people are going to say, well, that is by itself the definition of agile. So, okay, fine.
Uh, I
Well,
so here's the thing. The people who sit there and say that actually don't really know agile and didn't really grow up with it and didn't like take a look at it. What people call agile nowadays is more is
right.
more akin to a hybrid between agile and waterfall.
Yep.
True agile is basically the product or the customer comes to you and says, I want this. And so then you write a story, and then the team sits down and just is constantly talking about stuff. And if you actually go and you read about all of the ceremonies that they prescribe in agile, it is it is a lot of time in meetings. It is significant. Like they talk about how sprint planning like really should take a full day of discussion between the entire team and everything about
Hmm.
what's going to be done and where people are doing. Um, but when you sit down and you're in an actual team and you're working on an actual team, your sprint planning is like scoped down to just 1 or 2 hours of review, and that's it.
Hmm.
It used to be, like I said, where it was this massive thing and people would spend hours and stuff talking about those things. And on top of that, like you would the ticket and the requirements and things like that wouldn't come to the team fully fleshed out. Instead, the team would have to sit and ask and talk about it with the product people and do everything and kind of get an idea of what the product people want, and then the team would write up the requirements and do all of that. What you see now with a lot of people is that the product people come with the requirements already written out, already fleshed out and talked about and
Hmm.
thought about and things like that. And then the team, like the tech team, contributes back to those requirements because of
Yep.
things that the product people
Based off their
didn't.
technical knowledge. Yep.
Yes, exactly. So what you're seeing nowadays is not real agile, like not the real pure agile that was
Not
first
the
introduced.
original found, what do we call that? Not the original Torah of
Yeah,
agile.
yeah. It's just, and there's nothing wrong with it being that way. I, Part of the reason why it is the way it is now is a lot of the lessons learned over the years with it being that hey, waterfall actually had some good views and stuff with it because you
Hmm.
sit down and you actually plan out the product and you have an idea of what you want the product to be before the work actually begins. Because the whole process or the whole thought with agile was you immediately, like you were going to immediately start work without fully understanding what the product was going to be, whereas in agile it was viewed as a feature of the agile system, whereas waterfall it was, oh well, we didn't plan properly. But what we've landed on over the years is a hybrid of the two, where you plan out at a relatively high level the
Hmm.
product of what you want, before work begins. Like you don't dive into the details of stuff,
Yep.
but you have an idea of what you want to accomplish, and then once you
Mhm.
know have an idea of what you want to accomplish, then you begin the work. And then on top of that, as you begin the work, you start refining the product a little bit more and more and more. So that's
Mhm.
why you see when you go to a company these days and they say, "Oh, well, we're agile," and you sit down and you see product coming to you with all of these requirements for something. That's not agile.
Yep.
That is a combination of agile and waterfall. And
Yeah.
I think we've proven over the years that that actually is works better than.
This is way more powerful because what
Yes.
happens is by giving the original planning team less requirements to focus on the internal feature set,
Yep.
you allow them to focus more on the mission, purpose, and vision and
Yes.
philosophy of the client or
Yeah.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
purpose. So you come with a much more full image of the end results or the reason behind things, and
Mm-hmm.
this allows you the next team to really develop they're part of that fundamental and you're utilizing everybody's talents.
Yes. Yep.